Today's tutorial is on my beautiful friend Mimi. She came by the studio the other day and we were just playing with different makeup styles for her wedding later this year. And all of the reference shots that she brought were of Kylie Jenner, so it became a little bit more of a Kylie Jenner makeup look. Mimi also asked that her eyes look as big and bright as possible, so we employed a bit of makeup magic for that. If you enjoy what I do, don't forget to hit subscribe. Let's do this. We're going to start by priming the eyes. So quick side story actually. I asked a nail artist once, what's the deal with base coats and like nail primers? Is it all a bit of a sham? And she was like, no, like I wouldn't bother painting nails if they weren't primed correctly. And that is kind of how I feel about eye primer. Right, onto the eyeshadow. Now if you look at some of Kylie Jenner's iconic eye makeup looks, do a Google. They tend to be totally matte or rather matte, semi-smoky, neutral leaning warm, and the placement really focuses on shaping and contouring the eye to give that lifted effect. So that's what we'll be doing. I'm using the Tarte Clay Play palette, which is a tongue twister and an absolute joy to work with. I'm really impressed with how these shadows performed. Starting by taking a mid-tone shade to contour the socket, and then we're moving to a bit of a deeper brown to shade the outer V. Mimi's eye shape is actually not terribly dissimilar to mine in that she has a slightly hooded lid, maybe a heavy eyelid. So periodically I asked her to open her eyes, look straight ahead just to make sure that all that shading is visible when the eyes are open. These shadows are pulling a bit cool toned or grayish on Mimi's complexion, and we wanted a warmer look. So I took an orangish tone and lightly sweeping over the entire eye over all the shading we've done. This is a technique I use frequently just to shift the temperature a few notches warmer. Onto eyeliner. Now, as you can probably tell, Mimi has a fresh set of lash extensions. And have you ever tried to remove waterproof, long-wearing gel liner from lash extensions? It's kind of a nightmare. So to make her life just that little bit easier, I'm using a black eyeshadow on a damp brush and creating a wedge-shaped eyeliner that's really thin near the tear duct, and then it gets thicker on the outer corner, but no discernible wing here because Mimi said that wings look silly on her, but I beg to differ, and I shall get her into the studio another day to prove it. Before that product sets entirely, we're going to blur the edges of that eyeliner with an angle brush. Editing makes this look really fast, but it can take a bit of time. Be patient with it. Just keep sweeping the brush over the edge until you get that really diffused smoky liner effect. Let's be frank, Kylie has a ton of lid space and most of the rest of us don't. So a technique that I use often to create the illusion of more lid space is to carve out the inner half of the lid with a pale shadow and bringing it just a touch higher than where the socket naturally creases. This is pretty much the same concept as mapping out a cut crease, right? We've seen that tons on YouTube. This is a similar idea, just on a smaller scale. Let's move on to the complexion and we'll finish off the eyes just a little bit later. We're cleaning up any fallout and cleansing the skin with some Bioderma, any micellar water, and then going in with a hydrating primer. So if you want to do a very accurate Kylie look, she does tend to go for more of a matte base. We decided to go for a little bit more of a dewy look because Mimi's skin type is uber dry already. I'm using the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation because it is the most photogenic foundation ever. Don't at me. In terms of shade, we are all a patchwork of shades, right? Some of us more than others. In this case, the neck and the forehead are a good 2 shades darker than other portions of the face and chest. So I've chosen a foundation shade here that will help to mesh everything together. But I just want to throw that out there because for some of us, the idea of that one perfect foundation color, it's a bit of a fallacy. In my last bridal tutorial, I used the Shape Tape Concealer. I love that one, but I'm not using it here because A, I think Mimi's skin type is too dry for that product, and B, I don't think she wants or needs that much coverage. I just want to brighten the larger under eye area a la Kylie Jenner. So we're going with the Nars Complete Matte Concealer instead. I think that's what it's called. This product really continues to grow on me. The only thing that I don't love is that it does have the tendency to collect in the folds under the lash line, but I just remove any creasing with a Q-tip before setting it with powder, although you'll see that later. Some of us also have areas of darkness or pigmentation around the mouth, upper lip, chin, and this is a good time to brighten those areas with the same concealer. Mimi wanted to test out some sharper bone structure. Me too, girlfriend. Give me sharper bone structure. So we've brightened the central portions of the face, and that already has brought in some extra dimension. But let's do a little dash of cream contouring too. Bit of cream contour never hurt anybody. I often get questions like, how do I go about contouring cheekbones if I don't naturally have super prominent cheekbones? And my best advice would be to keep the product closer to the perimeter of the face. If you drag it too far inward where there isn't already a natural shadow or natural indentation, it can just start to look a bit stripy. If you want a bridal makeup with powder products, I'm going to link that tutorial in the screen, but for this video, we're going to continue with the cream formulas. Let's highlight with a bit of the Hourglass Flash Cream Highlight Sticks. I know these got really mixed reviews, but I really like them. It's not a blinding highlight by any means, but it's got this soft, satiny, really pretty glow, and they blend out beautifully. This by Terry cream blush is everything. It's like peachy, glowy cheek dreams. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of sticky cream blush formula, but the by Terry cream blushes have a little bit more of like a dry silicone slip, almost like a primer, and they practically blend themselves. One of my favorite powders for drier skin types is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish powder. I'm not setting the entire face here, just a few hot spots like the center of the forehead, a little bit under the eyes, around the mouth, etc. If you find that your foundation settles into laugh lines or forehead lines or under the eyes or what have you, I like to take a Q-tip and just lightly buff away any settling before I go in with a powder. So you'll see me doing a little bit of that there. Mimi's brows are naturally fluffy, but she likes a stronger, sharper brow. So the plan here is to give her a more structured brow without veering into that blocky territory. We don't want that. So first I went in with a brow pencil to lengthen the tail, map the general perimeters of the brow, and establish that sharpness, so to speak. But then I switched to a brow powder to fill in the body of the brow. And the effect is just a little bit softer with a powder compared to a pencil. I was pretty chuffed with how these brows came out. They're a little fluffy, a little structured, and totally in balance with all of Mimi's features. It's going to look like I'm jumping around the face a bit here, but there is method to my madness, bear with me. I wanted to amp up the highlight a bit. So I layered a powder highlight over the existing cream highlight. And I like doing that, topping a cream product with its powder counterpart. It really helps with longevity. We did a little bit of a nose contour, very little. It's very subtle and you can't really see the product going on, but you can absolutely see a difference in the before and after shots. And I would argue that that makes a good nose contour if you can't see the product. Let's finish off the eyeshadow. So if you recall, part of the brief is to make the eyes look larger. And there are so many different techniques to achieve this effect. But on Mimi, you'll see that I brought the eyeshadow shading quite high up towards the brow. And I'm going to bring that lower lash line shading really quite low, lower than she would normally. The idea is I'm trying to maximize the surface area of the eyeshadow. That means that the eye area is going to take up a bigger portion of her face, and then as a consequence, the eyes appear larger compared to her other features. Does that make sense? Blow out the eyeshadow. A few finishing touches on the eyes. Even when Kylie is wearing an all matte eye, I see tiny slivers of highlight around the tear duct and under the arch of the brow, so we'll be doing a bit of that too. Also some mascara on the lower lashes. If you want an even more authentic Kylie look, some false lower lashes wouldn't go astray here because her lower lashes, cray cray. At this stage, I can see that Mimi could do with a little bit of extra color on her cheeks. So again, we're topping that cream blush with a powder blush, and this Too Faced blush has a fair bit of luminosity. So you get that bit of a highlight on the very apple of the cheek. I see all the cool kids on YouTube doing this, like highlighting the very apple of the cheek so that when you smile, it bounces a bit of light. Honestly, I think I'm a convert. A quick spritz of setting spray to settle any powder, and let's move on to the lips. AKA a quest for the perfect matte nude Kylie Jenner lip. That isn't a Kylie lip kit because Mimi's lips just don't deserve that kind of torture. Sorry, not sorry. Those lip kits are so dry. The first lip combo we tried was a little bit pale, a little bit pink, and it washed out the complexion. So we removed that and instead went with Nars Overheated, which is the perfect nude for a medium or medium plus skin tone. It has just enough brown that the lips don't disappear from the face, and the finish is more matte but not a crusty matte. I really enjoy that. And then using a nude lip pencil, I shaded the lips a little beyond the natural lip line because it would be rude not to. It's a Kylie Jenner makeup after all. Although I did blur the edges with a Q-tip to make it a little bit more believable. There we go. A Kylie Jenner inspired, Karima executed, not so typical bridal makeup. Hashtag cute, hashtag love, and all the other keywords. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more faces on this channel, then let me know in the comment section. Your feedback is super helpful. Huge thank you to my friend Mimi for agreeing to be on my channel. I had a ball painting your face and you crack me up. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, whatever it is you're up to, and I shall speak to you all very soon.